Hi everybody, welcome back. We're going to be talking about Physics2D. We're going to continue our talk and we're going to start with Physics2D with the Surface Effector. So for the Surface Effector, I'm going to apply it to this ground right here. Now this ground, it just has this box collider 2D. So with this box collider 2D, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the Surface Effector. Now with the effectors, as I've covered previously, all you gotta do is check this used by effector so it could work. Some of them you have to have is trigger on, but not for this one. Now you could use collider mask, or if you don't use it, everything will collide with this or will get affected by this. A collider mask, you could choose one mask you want. So if you want everything to be affected by this, if you want just a default layer, just a transparent layer, whatever you want, then you could add a force. So let's see what this does. All you have to do is pretty much add the surface effector, click on that used by effector on the collider, and this will start happening. All this will move by itself. As you can see, the bomb is moving by itself. I add more speed, they'll move quicker. I could change the speed as well. So as you can see, this surface effector just acts as a conveyor belt. So it just moves stuff to one certain side. So there's also speed variation. So if you have speed variation, it would just vary between speeds. So as you can see, kind of slows down, it speeds up, it slows down. You can see the bomb, it slows down a little bit, picks up some speed, and then does it all over again. Now there's also force scale. So it just multiplies the speed with the force scale. Now you also have these options right here. So if you wanted to use contact force, so if you wanted to have force when you make contact or not, so whatever makes contact, if you wanted to add some force to it, use friction and use bounce. This has to do with the physics material. So let me add a physics material to this ball, or this bomb. We're gonna add this physics material, and I think I changed it already to be bouncy. Yes, I added bounciness to it, and it has a little bit of friction. So now if I go to, so it's using bounciness. So if I help it bounce, it starts bouncing. But if I uncheck this, it won't bounce anymore. Same thing with friction, if you wanted to use friction or not. So yeah, that's pretty much what these options are. So that's pretty much it for the surface effector. Now let's see what's next. Now we have a target Joint2D. Now target Joint2D, I'm gonna add it to this bomb sprite. I'm gonna add a target Joint2D. So what it says in the Unity documentation is that this target Joint2D is great for realistic characters to realistically pick up objects, or let's say you're developing for a mobile phone and or for a mobile, you're making a mobile game and you want the touch to be a little more realistic looking, or you want it to look like he's grabbing it from a certain spot. What you do is you add this target Joint2D. Now the anchor, you would set it to wherever you want it to be, and this target, you would pretty much just put it in the same spot. Now this is only if you wanted to let's say you wanted to grab it by this little rope right here. So what you would do is, let's say I hit play. Now as you can see, it's just sitting there. But if I go into the scene view and I grab this, as you can see, it moves by the little string. Now it don't look that realistic right now because of let's see where it's at. Oh, because of the rotation. So if I uncheck this rotation, it gives it more of a realistic look. So now if I grab this little anchor point, and I start spinning it around, I can move it around. So let's say you actually had a mobile app and my mouse was your finger, and you could actually be swinging this around, doing whatever you wanted to. So that's pretty much what the target Joint2D does. It sets a specific target on the game object that you want to be able to grab that game object by. So you could actually make this character grab this point instead of looking like it grabs the whole base of the palm or whatever. And then there's also auto configure target. So if you auto configure the target, just auto configure it, and then configures it to where it's supposed to be. But since I already adjusted this anchor point, it's just gonna pretty much do the same thing I usually do. If, let's say, I move this target like way over here, when I hit play, all it's gonna do is gonna snap to that target. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. So yeah, you can see it just kind of snaps to that target. And you'll probably be able to see it again because I think I double clicked on play. Just snap. Now there is also the break force. You have frequency, so how frequent, the frequency of trying to reach the actual target. So you could actually say you have it to 0 and you hit play, then it shouldn't reach the target. So as you can see, it didn't even get close to the target, just dropped to the floor. And you could also make it break. Now for this last one, at least I think it's the last one. I think it's the wheel joint. Yeah, it's the wheel joint. So for this wheel joint, I downloaded, as I said before. I'm gonna post all these assets I used from this little character to this, this little blocks and background. I'm gonna post it on the description below. So if you guys want to download any of these, the one I'm gonna use, this monster truck, it's from the Unity technologies, pretty much Unity themselves, and it's a 2D sprites pack, and it just has all these sprites. So as you can see, all these sprites right here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move this player out of the way, and I'm gonna turn off these game objects so we don't even see them. I'm gonna move this monster truck in. Before I do, I'm gonna create an empty game object, and I'm gonna call it monster truck. And then I'm gonna bring this truck chassis into the little empty game object monster truck. And later on, I might do the spring sprite so you guys could see it. But these already have springs, so that's why I decided not to do it. But anyways, I could have still done it, but I kind of forgot. So now I'm gonna bring these in here. Actually, this one I'm just gonna duplicate, move it over here. I'm gonna drop this sprite down to where I think is about right, and then I'm gonna change these sprites over here to render in front. So I'll just change it to 1, no render in front. I'll bring this a little bit up, and then on these both of these wheel sprites, I'm gonna add, I'll add on both. I'm gonna add the wheel joint 2D, and then you can see it brings it way over here. For this truck chassis, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna add a rigid body 2D, and then I'm gonna bring this truck chassis into both of these wheel joint 2D connected rigid body, and then it's gonna drag it up here. But that's not really what we want. So what we want to do is we want to auto configure this and set the connected anchor right where the wheel's at, right in the center of the wheel for both of them. At least try to make it as close as possible. And once you have that as close as possible, let me see if everything's good. We actually gotta add colliders, so circle colliders. So as you can see, all these are in the Physics2D part. The circle collider, the rigid body, the wheel joint, and then we're just gonna adjust it, roughly to the shape of the wheel. And then after that, we also want to put one for the body of the monster truck, and I'm just gonna put a polygon collider, even though it's a little bit more taxing. It's fine. It's not a game I'm gonna publish or a big game or anything like that. So after that, everything should work. So I hit play, and everything works. You can see the little wheels kind of spinning. I go to the scene and I drag this monster truck game object up. You can see it even has a little suspension to it. You can see those suspension it has. Also there's a couple other options here. Let me just go to the back tire. Now we could change the suspension, the dampening ratio. The dampening ratio is kind of like, how can I explain it? So when the body of the monster truck and the truck kind of squish together, it's that when they squish together, it kind of slows down. It kind of dampens. So it would be that. So if you would want that to either be faster or slower, you would change the dampening ratio. Frequency is how much the suspension moves frequently. The angle, the angle of the suspension, and then right here use motor. So if I have use motor on and I have this, let's say to 50, so when it will automatically move the tire by itself, I won't have to push any keys, no input, nothing like that. And as you can see, it's moving it by itself with no input, no nothing like that. I could also put it as negative 50, and it would just go the opposite way. So I could mess with that. And then there's maximum motor force, so how the maximum speed it could get to. And then there's also the brake force. Just like everything else, this could break. So as you can see, I just broke the back tire. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the Physics 2D section. We are finally done with Physics 2D. In the next tutorial, I'm going to start talking about physics now for 3D, which is almost all pretty much the same. As you can see, it has pretty much all the same stuff, but there is a lot of differences. For example, like let me go to show me an example real quick. If I go to physics and I go to, let's say, just a box collider, well, I can't because I have the rigid body 2D. Let me add an empty. Let me add the box collider just 3D. So as you can see, it's not, well, it looks the same, but if I get out of 3D, you can see it's just a box, an actual box. But if I go to, let me see, let me turn this one on. This block, now this block, it kind of has the same properties, but as you can see, they're different. It even looks like the box collider for 3D is a little less confusing than the one for 2D. But anyways, if you want to see more videos like this, hit that subscribe button. If you guys like this video, if it helped you in any way, if you guys are enjoying the video so far, or if you just want to help me out, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification if you want to get notified as soon as the video comes out. And once again, thank you.